and then has a little bit of damage and a BKB to play for versus the Naga Siren, but really a lot of heroes picked out of order, it feels like this time around, and I don't really know to the benefit of whom just yet.
Yeah, it just felt like both sides are trying to force a specific movement out from their opponents, and well, as you say, it's kind of hard to see who was forcing whom here until we actually get to the end of this draft. So it'll be interesting to see. Definitely want to know what Wildcard's landing situation looks like at this point, but also want to know what the Doom's doing, where they look to push it, if it is going to be into that support role now, because... Okay. They pick up the Zeus, so... Well, it's not the most durable hero in the world, right? But you make up for it with just stupid amounts of damage, and damage that you can throw onto the Naga Siren without necessarily being within that threatening range of the song in the first place.
And something that 5RAT will have to be very aware of come the end of that landing stage, because give a hero like Timbersaw a little bit more damage, probably could find a kill, but also, plain and simple, real easy hero to go versus Batrider. Just doesn't die. Both mid laners are, funnily enough, going to have so many stick charges now to play with, because one's going to be spamming Arc Lightning, the other Napalm, but it's also where I think the Zeus is just happy and will give them damage. It's no more lockdown, which I don't necessarily like for Wildcard. Timbersaw Zeus are very passive cores that are going to need a lot of farm and really just hoping that the damage is going to force their opponents to either run away from them or be enough to kill them. So kind of a gamble in that way, but it's Defy Llama Timbersaw, probably one of the best Timbers in the world. You got to kind of trust him at this point and then hope for the best, but we'll see, because now I think a lot of that agency swaps over to 5RAT. They just have a lot more casual plays to be made, while Wildcard have Blink Doom is probably going to be their best way to get into team fights for a position on the Doom that we're not even privy to just yet, even though it feels like it has to be a 4 position.
Yeah, I don't really know if you would be willing to swing him to a core role and then move the Zeus, because that's just not really as impressive. So we'll see. They still have the option to them, but 5RATFORCESTAFF moving forward here, because regardless of the positioning, there is still a carry that needs to be picked up here. So they ban away the Slark, they ban away the Morphling. Relatively solid picks here, and you put your opponents in a situation where it feels like Wildcard can't tick all of their boxes. They can get damage, they could get durability, they could get lockdown, but I don't know who's still in the pool that gives them all three. Because, I don't know, last time they tried to go a little bit outside the box with the Yuma Wraith King pick, and it wasn't really that impressive.
Yeah, and they're certain that they need a speed hero for 5RAT, and I do kind of agree. I don't think that 5RAT need to move their lanes around, because Batrider versus Zeus is plain and simple a draw. You don't need to force kits out of that situation. Don't think there's very much to pick versus the Zeus either. But this could be Speed's Batrider. I think Batrider Tiny is not too bad of a lane, and it is going to be
Yep.
Speed's Batrider, and they get the Storm Spear now to close the distance on that Zeus, and that's why they took it there. So that way, they could almost bait you into going for that matchup, and well, again, we're in kind of a draw in the mid lane, but Kits gets a specialty hero, and Speed isn't unhappy to be this Batrider in the slightest, and now it's up to Wildcard to hope that you've got a counter pick versus this Bat Tiny lane. It's a fast pick. They go for Faceless, which does solve their lockdown problem, but I don't know if I like that lane very much.
Right. It's a solution, but I don't know if it's a great one, but I don't know. They were kind of hard pressed at this point anyway, right? So they feel the need to do something, and I suppose if you look at their team fight as a whole, you got Chrono, Exantic, and Devi can just chuck damage in, and then if your Doom does have a Blink Dagger, you're set up for a Doom play, I guess realistically speaking, on either side of the Chronosphere, so the potential is there. It's just a lot of strength on paper that I don't know if they'll have the execution to actually put together.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how pressured DNM actually gets up in his lane. Of course, Speed and Kits are both going to be looking to gank that Timbersaw as soon as they feel like they can exit their own lanes. But as we typically say with Timbersaw, it's the type of hero where if you play good enough, you could just win the game for your team. You could ruin DNM's game, you go mid, you kill Kits' tower, you start fastening that pace of the game to a state where 5RAT might not have the items to combat you, and that's what Wildcard are probably banking on. And then that outpacing just eventually buys you enough space for Yuma to become the carry. And Yuma is certainly in the position to carry his team. I think the Faceless, again, it directs the damage, it gives them an outlet. Everybody can just beat into that Chronosphere. It's where if he catches kits pretty much ever inside of it, the Storm is just always going to die. It's just a matter of if that's going to be enough, and if that CD, again, is just too long, and where do you make the plays in between those long Chronospheres, or do you just get run over? Because that's exactly what 5RAT are going to try to do against you.
And that's exactly the kind of pitfall that Yuma fell into in the previous game with the Wraith King, where you're farming, now you want to fight, you get Reincarnation put on a long cooldown, and I guess they could have tried to force the issue with no Reincarnation, but why would you want to do that if you had the option to avoid it?
Yeah, exactly. And well, I have to see, because I think 5RAT yet again have an incredibly solid lineup, and they would love a 2-0 here, set them as that top of the pack.
Yep. Would absolutely put them in a solid position, and it is worth sort of reminding you folks that 5RAT have only lost a single game so far in the group stage, so momentum-wise, they are feeling very, very good. Wildcard, well, they don't quite have maybe the same overall win-loss, but a 1-1 draw here still keeps them in contention. That is going to be the most important aspect for them. You know, the nature of only 4 teams advancing does kind of change things up a little bit, but at the end of the day, you can't have 0 points in a series. Gotta try and get something.
And like I said earlier, a 1-1 really kind of benefits both of them. So if Wildcard could just, somehow eke out a victory, definitely seen Yuma Faceless Void do it. I've seen him pull out more difficult wins, but it's definitely going to be a little bit hard here for him. But fingers crossed, where we can only hope that Yuma gives us a little bit of a game here, because Faceless Void so far in this tournament, at the very least, have not been the most inspiring players.
Yeah, the performance hasn't quite been where most Faceless Voids like it to be. That's part of the reason Faceless has, not been that crazy high pick ban rate that we were seeing a little while back, because performance kind of flagged a bit. So a lot of teams moved on, but he is, I guess, coming back into the picture. But if teams don't start bumping up the win rate with it, I feel like he might fall back down again.
He very likely could, but don't want to be too much of a doomer. We just have to hope for the best at this point, and that you can see the lanes actually go their way. But look at this. The lane swap. Again, 5RATFORCESTAFF, the ones to instigate it, but this is exactly what they wanted, and Yuma is making the run. He's exiting. He's hoping that he can make it towards top in time and then have his TP for when that swap does eventually happen. But yeah, they're going to see the walk as well with Divide crossing in mid, but this is the fastest they can do it, and this is going to win 5RAT at the very least the first wave. But we'll see if they even want to stick with it, or if this was just a nifty play at the beginning just to set them off on the right foot.
And I can at least respect one aspect of that. Yuma didn't even try, which I know sounds kind of harsh, but the second he sees the Naga Siren, he's not going to be stubborn. He's not going to say, oh, maybe I can... No, forget that. He's just going to switch right away, because the odds of you eking out anything good in that lane are so low, you just miss a wave or two and make the swap right away.
Well, and the good news is that Alex and Boris are level 2, supports for Joyce. They get to stick in the lanes while their teammates are the ones that rotate, but now we'll just see if they can play up on maybe their slight advantage here. But Wildcard, they correct the course.
Yeah, no counterplay, no musical lanes being forced here from 5RAT. They were just kind of okay with one slight edge, 1 or 2 creep waves their way at the start, and no musical lanes being forced out just yet. That there's still some time maybe for that to change, but as of right now, that doesn't appear to be the case.
Nope, definitely not. Even though good trades going, and Wildcard even winning, I think, a lot of these trades. And unironically, being that level 2 Rubik, just being a scary threat. And of course, having the casual base damage to trade a little bit more, feels like Rubik is in a very solid position.
Yeah, basically went from just kind of a counter pick to showing up in now 2 or 3 games today, so Obviously, it's not the largest sample size in the world, but I'm always a fan of the Rubik being shown a little bit of extra love, but we'll see if he can actually... Ooh, I'll do nothing right now because we do have a pause, but we'll see if he can actually get in for the aggression on to AB1, because D&M himself is... It's a possible kill, but it feels like it's a little tough for them, and their resources would be better spent just bullying the CM out of lane.
Yep, and CM is even already exiting. Everyone's going to the triangle to stack. He knows what he wants to do. He knows what he's about. Trying to give as many levels, especially when the game's easy versus Timbersaw, to DNM, because of course, DNM can rotate to the jungle, be level 6, that would go 3-0-3. Then he's just going to be very satisfied with his early game. But Devi's in the same boat. Alex probably wants to rotate out as soon as he possibly can, so that way he can give that early level 6 over to Devi, and then that's when the lane and the game really starts for both these players.
Well, for now, we do continue to wait. It is Kits who has dropped out here, so trying to get him back in as quickly as we can, and that gives us a moment ET to examine this mid matchup just a little bit, because, well, I mean, we were mentioning in the draft itself this was going to kind of be a very magic stick oriented game. Xantic already has his. Kits does not have one with him, but could simply buy one out, so I feel like this is a scenario where both of these mid laners are just going to be unbelievably focused in on their last hitting.
Yeah, exactly. Just not too much to worry about. Really, even with that, we might see some action at probably the bottom water rune, just because that's where both the CM and the Rubik can get pretty easily. I think that's where top lane is more or less stuck, especially because Boris is just rushing the boots, so he probably won't want to make a move before then. But I think that top lane for Wildcard, they really need each other to make sure that Yuma is in a 1v1 situation versus Batrider. I feel like that's the type of lane where speed will just walk all over you.
Well, Kits is making his way back into the server, so hopefully we can get things underway in just a moment, and yeah, there we go. Game will be unpaused, and we are back into it as we take a look at moves up in the top lane. Level 2 hit, Avatos combo is there, but I don't know. Speed would need to get some napalm stacks up first. If he does, I could see something happening. A toss back into the Firefly. These guys are tanky, but if you have that much time to get the DOT onto him, something could happen, but that's assuming that they stand around and let Speed just drop napalm stacks on him all day.
Yeah, and it's pretty impossible to stop it. At least Yuma's got the full wand, so not like he's going to get capped here on his charges, but it ain't a fun lane. And they're doing their best right now. As Boris, he's playing 5 Doom. He's having fun. He's going to steal some of these creeps, gets the flag bearer. As long as they meet, then he's happy with it, even though it looks like he's taking them all the way behind. Okay, gonna stop early.
Obtain the aggro, pull him over. Yeah, all's well that ends well. Meanwhile, Moose is on the move a bit. Gonna drop down some vision, spot out a courier.
Cool.
Well, he spots it, but didn't quite have the angle to hit it, so now they know he's there, and Xantic can take a step back and eventually just avoid this gank.
Yeah, and he is taking no chances, going immediately for Arcane Boots as well. This will result in him not getting a bottle refill, which probably is going to send the Zeus back to base after this next wave, but it could be worse. And honestly, I'm surprised they keep both supports down bottom, but I guess it's just a situation where they're even giving Alex quite a lot of this XP. They're exactly dead even, more or less. It's been kind of that recovery from the long walk, but surprised to see that. We're used to seeing the 4 really sacrifice himself to make sure the Timbersaw gets that early level 6, but well, Alex wants some damage.
Yeah, he is getting in there. Just try to hit somebody up, and I suppose to a certain extent, they're not really moving him because maybe they feel like they don't have a play to make elsewhere just yet, at least not just with the Rubik's telekinesis support, but I'm not 100% sure if that estimation is correct, because the Fade Bolt at level 2 is a nice little bit of extra damage, and to prove that point, they do try to hit up AB1 here, but the counterpoint is it wasn't enough damage to actually get the kill, so... Well, hold on, I say that. Devi is kind of pushing forward like you wanted it, but this is the downside of the sort of reactive armor, the 022, is the 0 part. No whirling death, no bonus damage, and he's not able to finish the job.
Yeah, kind of a hard kill. And aside from the lift, you know, 0 setup, it's just a waiting game. As might be a little bit less of a waiting game once the Xanthic actually has his 6, just a random damage, and actually hits. Hits his 6 a lot earlier.
Ollie's in, but I don't know how much he can do here. Can he protect his teammate? Not really. I think maybe he can just track down Moose. He's got the Scorched Earth still. Does Moose have Toss coming back up? Not for 5 seconds, but... Oh, the Doom continues to chase, has the Boulder throw, and I think Moose is going to go down. He will fall. Alex, meanwhile, chases down AB1, so... Couldn't protect your mid laner. That is unfortunate, but at least the support kills will go their way. Kits, though, does grab the haste rune.
Yeah, pretty dead even exchange. Also gets the first blood gold from the Zeus kill, as it was a pretty late first blood, honestly, but still, got what you wanted, got your little advantage over Xanthic, and now it's just a matter of whether or not I think you can be careful now of Thunder Gods. This is where everybody needs to check and see if they have a raindrop, because it will catch you off guard and it will kill you, but right now Speed's killing you. Oh, it's getting low, but it's not low enough for the Thunder Gods to be a threat, so he's A-okay in the top lane. Well, kind of in shambles here, because the supports had to rotate towards mid. Well, that 1v1 played out, and Speed went to town with it.
Yeah, very, very close call there, but everybody's able to walk away. You do have a long walk back here for Boris, but he doesn't have a TP. He would have to buy one, but not that big of a deal. Can buy a TP. TP himself back to lane real quick like, and really none the worse for wear here. Other than that fight in the middle lane, you know, things had and continue to really be going pretty damn slowly. Not seeing a crazy amount of action. The supports have rotated. You do have to give him that. It's just the rotations haven't necessarily been for kills. It's been more to just kind of mirror their counterparts' maneuvers and ward off any aggression, so it turns into a little bit of a weird dance. But you have Alex making his way up top, trying to protect Yuma, who is in some danger because the lasso is available. They really do want this fight, but I don't know about this one. With Kits coming in, maybe this gets a bit easier, and they are going to be able to make the push onto Yuma. Now what else do they get? Alexo gonna get himself knocked back by the flame break, finished off by Kits, and Speed, well, I guess just keeps the lasso held in place if they want another fight on the other side of the map. AP1, that's unfortunate. Tried to dance around his tower, unable to survive. Devi Lama gets the kill, but now with Speed in, he makes the trade, and that's 2 fights Speed takes with no lasso committed.
Yeah, and gets so much gold. Now his boots of travel are coming out. And Speed kind of has a dream start right now, and all of the lanes seem to have been wins. Yeah, I think the most difficult lane is definitely DNM's, which he does rotate out of now, but again, he got level 6. He got what he wanted. He gets to retreat 303. He can farm jungle very safely now. The only thing that can really catch him off guard is maybe a smoking from the supports, but this is where Wildcard's ganking potential is really going to hurt them. There really isn't a great team to go into the jungle and hunt down that Naga Siren, so it just means that they're at the kind of beck and call of DNM showing up to the creep waves and then hoping that they can find enough heroes to actually kill them off.
Kits is going to go look in here. Not really able to find too much. He walks on the ward, so now they know he's here, and the Doom's not level 6 yet, so they don't quite have any lockdown to work with. At the same time, Devi, well, he kind of jumps the gun a little bit, getting onto AB1, not able to find the kill. The Thunder Gods, though, will get the job done, but now they get the pullback. Devi's in some trouble. Speed, well, he's going to go for the lasso now. It's still not enough, though. Devi survives. Kits is the one to fall, and they just bite off a little bit more than they can chew there, to be honest, and I kind of thought Devi had jumped the gun and gone in too early, but he acts as the distraction, allows his teammates to get into position, and I think the most important aspect there is that the Zeus was the one to grab one of those kills, so he kind of keeps pace with the top net worth heroes here.
Keeps pace, gets some more XP. Stealing kills with Thunder Gods, always very important, but still. And now a battle for the rune? Okay. Force just decides to take it at the end of the day here, and Divine Speed there in Mortal Kombat bottom, but oh, I don't think the Force is going to connect, and Divine's playing a dangerous game, but to Speed actually get walked down here. Wow.
Oh,
No.
he's not dead yet. The chakra missed. Speed is walking. He is going to live. Ollie's the one to fall, and... Devi just kicking himself a little bit. If he hits, that damage is enough. It gets the job done.
No, very unfortunate that they missed out on that kill. Of course, it's a fine line, and you don't lose the Timber Saw, but Devi's now on his way back to base while Speed sets up the farm to jungle, and again, I feel like 5RAT are getting the better trades. But yeah, top, this could be your feed.
There's going to be the jump in. Oh, okay. They didn't quite jump the way they wanted. The Chronos deployed. They don't have the damage to kill kits off right now, though. Or maybe they do. The telekinesis is going to be there. They get the lockdown. Exantic TP's in at the perfect moment with the lightning bolt, and... Okay. They find the kill. Yeah, it cost them Chrono, but... I mean, Chrono for kits, you're not going to get much of a better trade at this stage in the game.
The whip just feels nice and moves good.
I don't know about this one.
It tosses him in place, and now he's kind of in hot water, but he's also pretty tanky. I don't know if he's going to live through it all, though. Yeah, Timber's Timber, and that's going to be your kill into your tier 1 top, so a lot of pressure getting put onto 5RAT just off of that one little misplay. Of course, nothing that's not too bad, but also need to see Wildcard get a little bit of that focus back into the river, because Kits, of course, just killed him. TP's back mid. Going to be a battle for the runes before you know it.
Not staying down for too long, but you do like to see Wildcard making some plays here, getting some stuff going for themselves. Only problem is Yuma is not the highest damage hero in the world, so this tower push is coming along a little bit slowly, but he should be able to get it. 5RAT, yeah, they can do exactly that. They can pop the glyph. If they lose the tower, they get it back anyway, so might as well slow him down just that little bit, but now I think this is maybe the most concerning aspect here. Wildcard have moved into the north side jungle. That was supposed to be DNM's territory to hold on to, so he is forced to move a little bit, and that's going to slow up the farming rhythm.
No, certainly is. Already DNM is a little bit shaken, just coming out of the landing stage. Not your 13.5-minute Manta style that we're used to seeing from him, but he will slowly but surely get there. And of course, the one who's having a phenomenal game still is, of course, just Speed, who's been taking a lot of the safe farm, but has also not given away any of his lead just yet. Wildcard have not found a way to connect onto the Bat Rider, even though they surely want to. AB1, though, a little bit far up. They don't want to bring Devi any closer to them. They want to try to force him to commit once he's got maybe 1 or 2 more stacks, but a lot of damage.
Yeah, the freezing field is channeling. They will be able to take Devi down. AB1 should die to the DOT, but they're okay with that trade-off, although Moose, yeah, that's a problem. Trade is a little bit worse now with the 2-for-1 kits. Has a haste rune. He's fine. A little bit of greed, not really going to hurt him.
Yep. Great toss from Moose. Really, the only way that that goes down is cleanly, because, of course, if he kills the CM, he might be pressed for damage, but the toss back, just beautiful from him. You know, now it feels like maybe we see a smoke from Wildcard. They're kind of just pulling around. They're not the most mobile unit, though. Every single time they walk, it usually comes at the cost of Nagasiren getting set up in one of the annoying parts of the map and then having to slowly crawl their way to the next objective, as it feels like this is now going to be their kind of 3-man group here until the Faceless Void wants to get involved again. Could see him show up to the mid-fight, though, and that's a regen rune, but they're baiting it so hard, and yeah, Xantic just gets to walk up to it. Gets wants it so bad, but he knows there's no point. He'll just get doomed if he does that.
Now they're going to try to make a play onto Devi here. They get him with the Avatos combo into the root, into the Vortex. Devi doesn't really care. He was able to pop that Hood of Defiance before that damage came through, so that absorbs a lot of it. And
bottom.
They're going to try and make a counter play to get the Doom down on, or not the Doom, excuse me, the Chrono onto Speed. And they won't need the Doom. Well, you were just saying, you know, Speed had done a decent job of avoiding any of that pressure. That is still just his first death, but it comes at a really unfortunate time if you're 5RAT. He is still kind of your primary playmaker, because Musa's progress towards the Blink is obviously not significant at this point in time, so gotta take a step back, gotta wait for him to respawn. In the meantime, Wildcard will farm and I think maybe fight for a little bit of vision here, although Devi thought for a moment he just wanted to fight in general, but yeah. Ollie and Alexa will come through. They don't have a crazy amount of wards, but they can take control of this high ground area.
No, it's a really nice change-up from Yuma, and they'd love to do it again, but that would have to require, I think, Boris to have his Blink Dagger before they can look for that solo-ish play onto the Batrider bottom, but Speed's just looking to get his BKB and then come out of the lane. He doesn't want to leave his lane too early. One of the mistakes he preaches in his videos, you know?
Nice.
Dot game lead. No, now, though, we are going to slow down a bit, and actually, look bottom from the tree line.
Yep. They don't have the chrono this time, but they do have the dilation and the bashes. Yeah, that'll do it. Speed gets taken down. Back-to-back deaths now. Huge setback for 5RAT, and they're going to lose another. Kits gets rooted up, taken down. Xantic throws out the Thunder God's Wrath, and they're going to take down AB1 here, too. Yeah, Alex stole a max-level Frostbite. Xantic hits his teammate with the tip, and that is 3 straight kills just swept up across the map, and well, the momentum has really fully shifted now. Net worth and experience and win probability all go in the wildcard way.
Yeah, and really, with 4 points up in Supremacy, this is probably the best individual skill Alex could have. Also lets him farm a little bit. It's probably either that or the Ava, but still, this is very value. It's also going to probably force a shift in the mindset from Kits, because if he's not starting to fight onto that Rubik, you could get so hard punished, actually. And Alex, he's got smokes. They're kind of raring to go here. They don't have that much vision placed, which makes it a little bit less reliable for them to go for a smoke play, but you could see them chancing it regardless. You just got the shard on the Zeus, so got a little bit more damage to play around with. You don't have Thunder Gods for 60, but Chrono just came back up, so after you farm up this triangle, it might be go time for Wildcard.
Yeah, let's see if they decide to make the move or not. I guess, realistically speaking, they could try for this even without the smoke play, but who are they baiting in? Moose is the only one in the lane right now, and he's not going to jump in, although he might be the one getting jumped on here. He's going to try and hide in the tree line. And Alex will spot him. Yeah, that may not have been the best of ideas. He tries for the avalanche toss. It's not enough damage. Now he's going to get caught. Speed is coming over, though, and they might have actually baited successfully. And Xantic is in some trouble. There's going to be the lasso. The freezing field is channeling as well, but the chrono is going to come out, catching on to 2. They still lose at Xantic, and actually Yuma, he's just getting in some serious trouble here. He's rooted up. He's taken down. And they turn this fight. They're looking for Alex. He's going to just go for the root and TP out, and he will make it. But that means Boris is next up on the chopping block. Never mind. No, he's not, because Kits ran out of mana.
Yep. And a really good fight. And honestly, Chrono, to his credit, caught everybody he needed, but also the perfect position to get a drive-by pull, just on the edge of his own Chrono, in the only position where Kits could actually do anything to him. And then, of course, the worst way for Wildcard to start off that fight, losing their engine, losing their Zeus. When they went for that play, they didn't have Thunder God's Wrath, so that was never going to be an aspect, but having 700 or 800 mana that the Zeus wasn't able to output, just huge loss. And never even looking at Devi, who now is getting played on a little bit here. Not the easiest kill. This is going to be a messy kill, but it is going to happen eventually. Oh, no TP. Yeah, eventually. But still, 5RAT get quite a lot out of the map in just the most recent minute of the game.
Very slow going onto that Timber sub, but eventually they break through. There is a Lotus Orb finished off here by Boris, so, well, what, reflect the lasso, reflect something like the Frostbite, maybe even the Vortex too. I mean, there's a lot that the Lotus is going to be able to sort of shut down, and honestly kind of surprising that he was able to pick that up this early on, but I suppose for Boris, he's basically poured every last bit of his gold into that, because aside of the Lotus Orb, he has boots and a wand.
Yeah, it's Lotus Orbs, Lincoln Spheres, high-value items on both sides. It's going to be very important in a matter of really who gets who first. But currently, Wildcard have 2 Lotus Orbs. They wanted to, they could just make it almost impossible for Speed to play right now. Right now, they're kind of biding their time. They do smoke up, but this is one of the drawbacks of rushing this Lotus Orb. Now your Doom doesn't have a blink. Now you need to rely on what is just the lift, because the Chronosphere is not up for 15 seconds, but that's why they smoke just a little bit early here to hope that maybe somebody walks on you. And 5RAT are trying to walk and collapse onto mid. But little do they know that there's a little bit more support behind Devi, but they're really far back. They're trying to bait out the Naga, and they're going to go at the same time, but
Hmm.
yeah, Devi's just way too far forward, and now if they don't find the Naga, this is bad.
Well, they do not get onto the Naga Siren in the way that they wanted. They're forced to fall back, and just unfortunate positioning at that point, right? I mean, it looked really good for a substantial amount of time. It's just right as 5-rep push in, everybody on Wildcard got a little bit distracted, so not the way you wanted that one to go. Pretty substantial amount of golden experience that you hand over, because Devi is worth a decent amount here, but I don't know. Wildcard will get the chance to have him respawn and try again, and they will have all their big cooldowns available.
Yep. It'll be round what feels like 4 at this point, and yeah, it is. But getting a few more initiation tools gonna do them some good. At least Alex is able to refresh his time with this Frostbite spell, because, again, it is actually very, very nice, but until then, feels like we're in that waiting game a little bit here. I think Orchid finished up on DNM in 2,000 gold in his back pocket. He gets this heart. He got some problems for Wildcard, where the damage is still very good, extremely solid, but Naga Siren can then just start to outlast you and start to actually look to get onto you first. It's also where I think Blink Dagger just barely finished up on the Batrider as well, so 5RAT's smokes just got a whole lot stronger now that they don't have to solely rely on kits to initiate. Gets to save a lot of his mana as well once these fights do break out.
Mm-hmm. Blink Dagger on its way to him right now. Meanwhile, Wildcard continues to stay relatively grouped up here towards this middle lane, and I think everybody's at least kind of given a side glance to the pit, but haven't really seen anyone actually opt for that objective just yet. It's been, well, a focus on farming pretty heavily with the occasional kind of skirmish mixed in, but not going to be any skirmish here. It's just, here's the wave, TP's home, not going to take any chances. He's closing in on his BKB, not quite there yet, but if they continue to give this much time, he could pick it up, which is exactly why Wildcard decide we're going to pull the trigger on this initiation now. They've got the smoke onto 4, they've got all their ults, they just need to actually find themselves a target. A target that isn't AB1, because he looks like the guy that they're going to be running into here.
Oh, and they see the bat on the left side, but he blinks out. AB1 gets spotted. He doesn't get taken down either because they don't want to go too far. They'd have to Thunder Gods, but okay. Xantic finds the angle. Still, though, just narrowly avoided. And now, with the ward placed here, they're baiting so hard, but you can't bait versus Zeus.
Well, they're not focusing the bat first. They're going to go for moves instead, so Speed does have an opportunity to go for the TP. No, he doesn't. Whoa. He gets clipped by the avalanche that was stolen away just as his BKB was coming, not off cooldown, but was wearing off, so Alex could not have found better timing there, and yeah, as you point out, well, these wards, it's kind of an awkward spot, but Xantic, even if they didn't have the vision from their own wards, he had the Thunder God's Wrath, and as you said, you just can't hide from it.
Yeah, it's the tale of two wards there. You just, one team sees you walk in, the other team sees you walk out. You end up in that really awkward spot, and then Xantic cancels both of your Blink Daggers, so if there was ever a chance for you to escape, it's too late. You're already taken down. And then Alex, just great stuff from him. Continuing to find really great steals, really important steals. Just very high impact player right now. Even though we still haven't seen any attention given towards that Naga Siren and Moose. Well, he's got Xantic talk, but yeah, this will happen. Kit's barely not able to connect. Neither is Speed. That's unfortunate. Because now, 2 cores just showed top. They know that the Naga's alone. This would be the perfect time to find her, but this is still a very difficult kill, and I think, yeah, even just saw the Doom with the Invis Rune, so DNM will immediately evacuate.
Yep. Yeah, would have been a tough kill to swing either way, but they don't even get the chance at it, and DNM's progress towards the heart is just about finished, so they have not really been able to put much pressure on there. They did, yeah, they did just pick up a Blink Dagger for Boris here on the Doom, so he's got the Blink and the Lotus. If he wants in for the Doom, it's going to be pretty damn hard to stop him, and Well, that might be the ticket here for Wildcard. We've seen some good plays from them, but the initiation has always felt like it's been kind of just thrown together, right? The sort of Thunder God's Wrath into the Chrono that we just saw from Yuma was good, but it wasn't the cleanest initiation. So if you have the Doom to start it off instead, maybe they can look for something more frequently here, but 5RAT are going to make their move first. They smoke up as 4. They do not have DNM in this smoke, but he's close by. Heart's done. Song's ready. Let's see what they find.
He's finally getting onto this mid tower, which shockingly is still up from Wildcard, just an aspect of the Zeus and his ability to push out the wave, but we haven't seen 5RAT fight as a full 5-man force, even though you'd think that the Naga song would be the best answer to canceling out that Chronosphere, but just hasn't played out just yet here. And now Boris being the breaker. Yep, there's the pop.
Kits goes in anyway. Activates the BKB. Yuma didn't pull the trigger on the Chronosphere there, so they will back away. AB1, though, is in a little bit of an awkward spot. Tried to go for the Frostbite, but Devi is able to remove it, but everybody backs off. No casualties in that fight. No, I guess, major cooldowns used either, other than Thunder Gods, which, well, now I think about it, I mean, it's not the shortest cooldown in the world there, so there's a slight edge. If you're 5RAT, you're going to be able to push in without having to worry about that for the damage or the vision for about a minute and a half here.
Yeah, just something to think about, but there is an Aghanim Scepter coming out on the courier for Exantic, so you'll have that Nimbus, very obnoxious, especially if you're DNM and you want to try to go for a Song TP. As the fight continues and AB1 finally dies around the spot, probably should have died about maybe a minute ago, as that Nimbus is revealed, but Wildcard still don't feel comfortable enough to force the Roshan. They're probably just saying, we don't have enough damage right now, let our Faceless Void farm, Yuma's going to be fine, even though DNM always very careful to send an illusion to make sure to scout out that Rosh beforehand, just biding their time on Wildcard, because they don't need to give up their position right now.
They can afford to slow things down a little bit further and, well, maybe just wait things out a bit, because at the end of the day, yeah, DNM's farming, but you were going to have to deal with him no matter what. There really wasn't a window to do too much to him before he has that sort of heart build up and running, so I feel like that is something that they factored in when they were looking at their timings, but I don't know. I mean, both teams feel like they're okay, just kind of slowing it down and farming it up, so at what point do we see really either team look to make their move? They've got the Thunder God's Wrath back up on Wildcard, and yeah, they've got that, they've got Chrono, they've got Doom, so it felt like they should be the first team to make their move, and it's either doing exactly that, but I don't think they're going to be able to hit much. I mean, AB1's here, but he's kind of just used to running into 3 or 4 heroes and sacrificing himself, but Kits is baited entirely. Wow. Long zip onto an illusion, so Yuma just drops the Chrono, and after all the dancing, after all the cautious play, the play just kind of develops right in front of their eyes, and they take it for free.
Yeah, just you had that moment of realization from Kits's, even just the way he was playing. It was like, he zips on it, he realizes that's way too much damage, then starts walking out. It's the perfect bait. It's the perfect smoke play to follow it up as well, even though for a second I thought that the Doom just would have straight up scared off the CM into just hiding underneath the tier 2, but, well, you look for a reason for Roche. This is it, and Wildcard get their first stages of the game.
There we go. Roshan taken down, Aegis into Yuma's hands, and, well, you have the Aegis, that's great, but you did have to use Chrono in that last fight, and now that is a lasso being deployed onto Devi. They're trying to take him down, but Devi just doesn't care. Turns around, starts dishing out some damage. Now, though, things might get a little bit dicey. The freezing field, never mind, canceled immediately by the Nimbus, but Kits is still into the fight, looking to take down anyone he can. He's hoping for Boris first. Will be able to find that pickoff, but they need more. He's going to turn his attention onto Alex, picks up the double kill there, but his BKB is going to start to wear off, so he wants to back away. The problem is his teammates are all in the middle of the fight, so AB1 will be picked off, but look at the way that they're kiting them around, playing on the edges. They get the avalanche, they'll get the toss, a toss that got reflected onto Yuma, so Yuma is in this fight whether he wants to be or not. And they may be able to get through the Aegis here. They are trying to fight. Yuma's doing a pretty solid job, though, of holding his own. And even if they do bring him down once, he does have the Aegis to work with as the toss is reflected once again. Yuma, though, gets silenced. Still trying to fight his way through this. Will he burn? Yes, he will. That's the first life taken, but now Kits basically was out of mana and health there, so he zips up onto the high ground and immediately gets taken down. And, well, after all of that, Wildcard, I guess they win it. Not by much, but we're able to find some nice kills. It did cost him the Aegis, though, and very importantly, DNM doesn't die. He had to kind of play on the edges of that fight, but he isn't taken down.
No, he doesn't go down. Xantic does so much damage in that fight, and that really needs to be where I think 5RAT changed their mentality when it comes to these initiations. They need to find the Zeus. They found both supports, killed both supports. There's no Doom, there's no real Rubik in that fight where Kit spent most of his BKB. But as long as the Zeus is alive, he does way too much damage to your lineup. The fights just extend too long, and even though it looks like 5RAT want a long, messy fight, without an item like Diffusal Blade on DNM, it's a fight that eventually, as long as Xantic has mana, they will lose. And now Xantic's level 20, gonna be looking for 25. Zeus only gets more fearsome, not to mention Phylactery Core now finished up.
Courier delivers that out to him. He's a very scary individual. Not really all that squishy anymore either, right? He's got just shy of 3k health, so... yeah, still not, the greatest defensive prowess in the world, but he's not just that instant pick-off. Kits can't just zip onto him and kill him, but they've got to try and do something, right? Even if you can't kill him instantly, try to get in his face. Try to prevent that damage, as you pointed out. But for now, Wildcard still pushing their way across the map. They take the tier 2 tower. They'll grab the outpost, but really just feels like the tiniest of step forwards. Really just incremental plays in terms of map control here. No one's really been able to break this open.
No, it just continues to be a pretty grid-blocked map, and of course, aspect of that is always the Naga Siren, just keeping in 2 lanes constantly, as well as speed with the Boots of Travel, just looking for plays on the side lanes. So it becomes pretty scary for Wildcard to ever show and really get the map control going, aside from maybe the Timbersaw. A problem that, albeit Divide could probably fix if he just decides to get Boots of Travel next, but he wants a Hex. I agree. If they get a simple Blink stun, or even just Divide with a stun, might make their life a whole lot easier. But this is smoke number 3 with Chrono. Yuma's looking for a pick. They see AB1 taking the outpost right now, and they got a flash of the Naga Siren heading towards that mid-tier 2, but as is the issue, especially with this Naga Siren, the longer you don't show on the creep waves, the more likely it is for you to get scouted, and AB1 working for it.
There we go. Yuma's going to be able to finish the job. Nimbus deployed. Outpost will switch hands again. Really, I mean, things are stalling out pretty massively here, ET, and feels like that's by design. If you're 5RATFORCESTAFF, they just refuse to present any easy targets. As I say that, though, Moose is going to get hit up in the top lane, but if Moose dies here, it's really still not that big of a deal. That's just the 2 supports gone, and the Wildcard can't do anything off the back of those picks. Obviously, Roche won't be back up for quite some time. There's no easy tower. It's just an unbelievable stall game that 5RATs are putting together.
Yeah, they just continue to keep those 2 lanes in. Unfortunately, DNM hasn't really had the opportunity to really piece up any of these tier 2s, and I don't think there was a dragon skill or anything either that would have led into the push maybe even easier, but well, this game is just going to go low and slow. They are giving all the time in the world to Yuma to just become the monster of a Faceless Void that he can be, but I guess at the end of the day, 5RAT are saying that, well, maybe we can just wait until you use your Chrono and we don't have to worry about you when you don't have Chrono, but they're not really finding too many team fights in between, which is always a little bit worrisome. As well as we, straight up, aside from that one fight, have not seen DNM actually be at the beginning of an engagement. It's always been him doing his job, and then the fighting has always come secondary, which has resulted in his deathless game so far, but hasn't been there for any of their initial breaks. We've never seen a case where Kits finds a zip pull and then DNM's immediately on a target. Just hasn't happened.
I've not been able to put that combo together. In fact, has there been a song from DNM? I'm not sure there has been.
Nope.
Yeah, he's just been holding it all game long. That R key starting to collect some dust, but let's see if that changes. 4-man Smoke making their way out of there. Kits wasn't included, but he's a Storm Spirit, so he doesn't need to be, but they've got to find somebody, and this would be a hell of a jump. They've got to... Well, never mind. I was going to say they got to burn through the Lincolns and get him before his BKB, but... Well, Yuma's able to get him... Get himself out of there. Did Speed see him? He kind of doubled back towards the pit like he had maybe gotten a glimpse, but they're not going to make that play, and the smoke kind of peters out. Now we'll see a counter smoke, and... Well, DT, these may not connect, but at least we're seeing something other than some passive farming here as the teams are at least trying to put something together.
Yeah, and right now, they saw him on the ward. They continue to see supports walking around this ward. And do they get DNM walking into the triangle here? That would be the big pick, but instead, he hovers, he sits invis right next to that obs ward. The vision from Wildcard, it's so close, and they do see the real Naga Siren, but this is definitely an overextension, but they want it so bad, and now the smoke dissipates. They see it, they realize that they've been read. 5RAT just got wind of it for maybe 10 seconds prior, but just ends up in being a whiff. And now that they don't have Thunder Gods, you know, it's not the longest of cooldowns by any means, but this would be 5RAT's time to retort smoke. They had or wanted to use one, and yeah, here we go. Just trading smoke for smoke.
I do love those plays. Every time you see that from the Zeus. They try the sneaky play first. You know, they sneak around, they don't find anybody, and at a certain point the Zeus says, you know what, this is dumb. Where the hell are you guys? And just pops ult for vision, so... The smoke does get them onto someone, but the BKB out from the bat just didn't come in time, so this play kind of breaks, and DNM uses the song, keeps him at arm's length. Alex does get taken down, but that's not enough to keep the fight from really continuing. Wildcard are still looking for somebody. They don't really have the greatest of targets, though. AB1 here is TPing away. They do have eyes on Kits, and with Boris coming in, do they hit him up in time? Can they catch him? Yes, they can. Didn't have to use the Doom. And after all that, smoke, miss, counter smoke, miss, counter smoke. We'll get them in there, and it is Alex for Kits as the final trade-off.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Moose?
Ooh, doesn't see him. Yes, got him. The nighttime vision second-guessed himself for a second as well, but there's the Hex, the endless value, and Divide turning his build around, looking for a blink as well, and then you have turned your hero through 8,000 net worth into a blink stun. All you need for Wildcard to get their game going, but here's the Roche, 55 seconds. We're going to be able to get this game moving a little bit more here, as we still are crawling for a lot of these items and a lot of these plays, but poor 5RAT, kind of getting stuck in a game that they're getting less and less confident about winning, even though they've got some sick 25s, especially speed. You can never really be too scared of that, but here we go bottom.
This is still not an easy kill, and the song's going to be used here. Yeah, just to get him away. DNM will TP out. Speed should make it. Timing was a little bit out of order there, but Devi would not have had enough time to get close enough and Hex. So, all good in terms of 5RAT getting out of there. Not quite so good in terms of having used 2 ults for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and well, here's the problem. That was your situation in which you try to kill Devi with all of the armor stacks and just being himself. Well, if your Naga can't kill him right now, well, there are 3 cores on Wildcard who are quickly catching up to you net worth-wise. And then you say to yourself, well, DNM, if you weren't going to have a massive lead, why are you Naga Siren? Because you're about to be caught. It's actually comical how close in net worth all 3 Wildcard's cores are. But then this Naga Siren has big issues. You've got a Mage Slayer now picked up, or rather a full Bloodthorn on DNM, and maybe that'll be his slight answer. But not only are you running out of slots, but you're running out of your Naga Siren's timing. Once you're 6 slotted, that's about as strong as you can get on this hero. There's no level 30 to play for. There's no big power spike. Your strongest hero in that regard is probably Batrider, but it's where I think Wildcard are farming themselves to a victory right now.
Yeah, they're okay with the way that things are sort of going to be here, unless 5RAT take the steps to change it. But, I mean, we saw what happened when they tried to send in 2 against Devi, so they would either need higher numbers or a different target, or How about they get jumped in the south side jungle and Speed gets taken down alone? That isn't really one of the options 5RAT thought was on the table for them, and now what do they really do here? Because without the bat, yeah, Yuma feels a lot safer pushing into the Roche pit. There's only the second Roche, so Aegis and a shard. Honestly, Yuma's probably just going to take that shard for the free reverse time walk, and there's really no significant play to be made to try and contest this if 5RAT even know about it. They will know now. The illusions make their way in, and they're in position. They could try. It's not going to be easy to get in. They do have the song from the Naga, though, so maybe they just push in with that. But before they get the chance, Boris makes his move. He's going to get onto AB1. The DOT is eventually going to bring AB1 down, but over on the other side, Moose able to turn it into a trade. Takes down Alex. Bad time for a pause, as Kiss is going to throw that out there, but they are dealing with some lag issues.
Yeah, and, well, Alex gets murdered. Murdered in the day, but they do get the focus slightly away from the pit. I still don't think they're going to be able to contest it unless they feel really comfortable in just buying back straight up on the Bat Rider, which does not seem likely. As well as Devi is just pestering DNM right now. Devi can't see DNM, but still kind of knows that he just hexed the Naga right in front of him, even though he is just running away quickly with the Shadow Walk right now. But I don't know. It's a tough position to be in. The one thing to be maybe slightly cautious about is Xantic is out of mana. The Zeus is no longer helpful. He has to TP back to well. He can't actually stick up top for the kill onto Moose because he needs to solve this problem right now. So there might be a team fight where 5RAT really wanted to force it. They could find that the Zeus is unable to help his teammates, but part of me also thinks they're just going to let the Tiny die, they're going to give the Roche away, and then we're just going to be back to normal. Even though Moose, on the run, has a Yule Scepter. Uses the Doom. Actually, Yuma gets body blocked by the Yule's Doom. And I feel like he's gonna... Okay. Could've. And then the kill back mid.
Well, not really able to do anything. Tavai's just... He is so damn tanky, there's just not a play to be made there, so... The question for Wildcard is, do we go back into the pit now? The threat seems to have been dealt with, and yeah, Yuma's gonna go for it.
It's not pretty. Now Speed's alive. Now AB1's alive. Yuma even probably says to his old teammate, you know, come, Chakram it, please. I have no damage items. He is a very tanky Faceless Void. He really hasn't focused on his own game, but he has become a pretty unkillable beast. And probably going to turn around for a damage item now, because he really is a low damage Void.
Yeah. Let's see. Bloodthorn queued up for him, so... Oh.
One kit.
He's in some trouble. He's out of mana. This BKB is not even really going to save him here. Yeah, he's just dead. So far out there to have no mana against a lineup that you know has that global presence. That just feels like too big of a risk to take.
Yeah, and the rest of the game does not look like it's going to get very much easier for them. This is where the hero plays out of Bat Rider and you try to get him in the fountain with Refresher and 2 lassos. It feels like that's where the game is going to have to go in Speed. Well, he showed for a second. Now he's going to get doomed, or maybe they don't even need it, because, yeah, they do so much damage. The Zeus is immediately there. Oh, this game's turning into a tragedy for 5RAT. And DNM is still deathless, but there's just not a lot that he can do at this point. He's got the Scotty. It's something, but it feels like now Wildcard are going to slowly but surely close in around these tier 2s. And then 5RAT... These death timers are incredibly long. Any pick now is going to result in at least some building damage occurring. And Yuma, okay, in the hot seat, but...
There's the Chrono. BKB into Chronosphere, turning around the damage, looking for moves first, able to get the kill. Xantic now TP's in. They're going to try to isolate DNM. He's hexed up. Can't drop the song. Doom's on him as well, and I do not think he can make the great escape here. He is trying to run through the trees, but... Yeah, he's not making it away at this point. They should be able to take him down. There it is. Devi gets the kill with the overwhelming blink. And that's their path into the base. Tier 2 gets taken. Buybacks, not really available for most of the lineup, and they're just going to go for it. They still don't have the most powerful pushing in the world onto these objectives, but there's nobody alive to stop them. They will do it, and I guess Devi did take the shard earlier on, so the flamethrower is here if they really do need it, but man, this is a slow push. They will get the racks eventually, but I think that might be all they get here.
Yeah, they would have to go all the way up through top. Of course, they could just do that. There's no real reason for them to leave for another 30 seconds, but even then, and okay, Vi's level 25, showing off the Timber Chain and speed. Oh, no way he dies 100-0 here. He's dead.
He's dead. Kits is dead. Oh, maybe he's not dead. Okay. Speed. He's got 5 seconds to wait on his TP. Desperately trying to get away, but they can just follow the path. Yeah, that's the problem with Firefly. They just continue to track him down, and Xantic gets both kills, and now they're into their opponent's base again, or I say into again. Yuma really never left, so he just continues to hack away, looking for a second lane of racks. There are buybacks available on the 2 dead heroes, and at a certain point, ET, are we getting into that desperation zone? Do 5RAT need to try and force a fight here, or do you think they can afford to wait out these death timers? Because I suppose they do still have the tier 2 mid to buy them some extra time.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think there's any chance that Wildcard go for tier 4s, so it's not going to be that pressuring, but it still feels awful. Game is not going too well. And yeah, look at him. He places the ward.
What you doing, bud?
Got the gem, he's got the ninja gear, he knows there's no sentries. This is where the long wrap comes around. He could even just be looking for the Storm Spirit. Devi's getting hit up in the base, but yeah, he just is undamageable. Oh, they're actually just going to look for the kill into the Storm Spirit here. There's Thunder Gods in 7 seconds. Nimbus plus that. Oh,
there's the jump, they get the stun, they get the doom. Can they get him back to the fountain in time? No, they can't. Xantic will finish it off, and well, they didn't want to use that buyback before, but now if he wants to be involved in the storm, he has to use it. They are going to get 2 buybacks in. There's going to be a third. They get the lasso as well, pulling the Timber Saw into the fountain, but Yuma, he's able to drop down the Chronosphere. They're getting onto the Naga Siren. Naga taken out. No buyback up on DNM, and oh, Wildcard. An exceptional level of patience, ET, but now they know they have their moment. Alex, with a stolen lasso, locks Kits down for a bit, and 5RAT are just throwing anything that they've got in here, but it's not looking great. Outside of the fountain kill onto the Timber Saw and now that kill onto the Rubik, they really don't have much else.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit desperate. They will get Boris, but the Zeus just does so much damage.
Man, they do get Boris, but it costs them speed and kits. Both buybacks were used already, and yeah, this one's pretty much done. Moose is going to get taken down. AB1. Will they show him mercy? It appears that they will for the time being, but Wildcard can afford to be magnanimous in this instance because they know this game is pretty much in hand now.
Yeah, and in that instance where Boris gets turned on, Zeus just instantly does 6,000 damage. Welcome to Zeus. Zeus with 25, Zeus with everything in the world, and Moose, he's got Yules. It's not like he can really die here, but...
Oop. Gonna toss him away. I think the funniest thing about that was the Yuma jumped in and used Havoc Hammer. Moose immediately turned around, used his Havoc Hammer, and they ended up the exact same distance apart that they started. Weird stuff. But Yuma, again, he doesn't have to care too much. Killing Moose there would have been helpful, but they're still up 40k. They've still got the Megas. They know that it would take a catastrophic meltdown at this point on their part to actually let this one slip through their fingers. But hey, 5RAT have not given up just yet. They're going to try and fight to the bitter end here, or a bitter end, at least one more team fight. So we'll see what it is they can find. 20 seconds for the Storm, about 30 for the Bat Rider, and Divide. He's going to make his move. AB1 in some trouble, trying to force staff himself back into the fountain. He does make it, but then Xantic just kills him in the fountain anyway, and now DNM is going to get targeted up. Song of the Siren does not matter. Chronosphere deployed by Yuma. They find the first kill onto Moose, and there's going to be the GG.
Yeah. Long time coming. Long time coming. And DNM gets a... Oh.
That's a stolen song from Alex right at the end for some style points, and Wildcard will take it.
Yeah, no, kind of a bewildering game. And of course, you know, the 1-1 split of now 5RAT don't move into that top position, but they don't drag down Wildcard either. So now they get both teams get a little bit of a buff up over those 5-win teams, but a little messy. And 5RAT, they've got another series to play, so they're not done. And sticking themselves in a 50-minute, what felt like unwinnable game since probably the 35-minute mark, it's gonna need a little bit of a mental reset. I wouldn't be surprised if they took the full 20-minute break, but no, an interesting game, a nice win for Wildcard to get. We'll see who's on Wildcard's team the next time they play.
Yeah, with the stand-in situation, I think they've used 4 stand-ins now, so every time you tune into a Wildcard game, you might see a different looking roster, but they get the 1-1 split here, they keep themselves alive, and the trend of ugly wins kind of continues, right? We saw a little bit of that in the Hikori Infamous series. Obviously, now we get it here. So nobody's playing the cleanest Dota in the world, ET, but at the end of the day, it's about getting the win, and both teams walk away with 1.
Yeah, I think now go next. If you're 5RAT, don't be too worried about this win, this loss. You know, the series is a series, and that's only their second loss, period.
Right.
So honestly, just move on and try to give yourself some distance, because that's where you don't want to get alley-ooped. You've got, what, 6 wins now? There's definitely some space to grow.
Now, 5RAT do have what on paper should be a fairly favorable matchup coming up with this third and final series. They play a Cringe Crew squad that only has a single win to their name. So very different positions between those two squads. We'll see if 5RAT can regroup, put some further points on the board to end the night, or if Cringe Crew are going to be able to break this losing streak. So that is going to be the next matchup. As ET mentioned, 5RAT do have the option of taking a little bit of extra time in between, so somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes before we're back for the start of that final series.